Hi everybody, Tess Crawley here, clinical and forensic psychologist, director of Dr. Tess Crawley and Associates in Hobart and Launceston in Tasmania. Now, as some of you will know, I'm on holiday at the moment with my family and I'm in Japan, and I have just come today, short train ride from Tokyo, and now we're in Yokohama, which is a harbourside town, and we are staying in an area that is surrounded by a bit of a theme park. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about acceptance today. Theme parks for me bring out a little bit of anxiety. Of course, I've got kids and I just have images of kids being flung from theme park rides, kids vomiting everywhere. They don't really do it for me. In fact, I don't think I've ever really been into theme park rides. I've always been a bit of a wuss in that regard. But it got me thinking a little bit today about anxiety in general and about the risk that we choose consciously or unconsciously to accept in our day-to-day lives, because some really interesting and quite frightening things have happened while we've been here in Japan. A couple of days ago we were sitting, it was one evening actually, we were sitting in our apartment in Tokyo, and the building started to shake quite significantly. I was about to tell one of my kids off for thumping around the room when I realised that ain't no kid. It was an earthquake. I've since learnt quite a bit about earthquakes, and I've been following a page on Twitter that documents any earthquakes in and around Japan, and it seems that there are daily earthquakes in Japan, and in a couple of regions in particular not too far from Tokyo, which is why we were feeling the rumbles. So it made us a little bit nervous. We did a little bit of research, we found out a little bit more about earthquakes, and I started to wonder what it's like to live in Japan with this daily presence really of earthquakes. And of course there's no real way of knowing when one's going to strike or how big it's going to be. They do have an early warning system here. Incident number 2 was a couple of days after the earthquake. There was an alert started blaring on my phone. I don't have my phone connected. I've got Wi-Fi connected in Japan, but I'm not connected to the phone network here. And it was an early warning saying in Japanese that there was a high likelihood of a catastrophic event and brace yourself. So obviously I couldn't read the Japanese, and probably quite lucky. There was no earthquake that followed that warning, thankfully, and in the media they're now talking about how 2 separate earthquakes of a lower magnitude were misinterpreted. Can you hear the screaming in the background? 2 lower magnitude earthquakes were misinterpreted by their warning system as one large magnitude earthquake. But my husband was in a shop at the time, and he, I think he was buying a birthday present for me, but I'll find that out later. He was in a shop with some Japanese gentlemen, and they basically just, the alert came, they braced themselves against something solid in the shop. They told my husband to do the same thing, and then nothing happened. And they said to him that usually if one of those alerts comes within seconds, you've only got seconds, and then you've just got time really to hold on to something before you'll feel the earthquake. So with the lower magnitude earthquake that we felt a couple of nights previously, that was I think 4.5 magnitude, we didn't get one of those alerts. So of course last night we were getting ready to come to Yokohama today, and we were all sound asleep, and then about 1 o'clock in the morning I was woken by the bed shaking and the windows rattling, and it wasn't my husband snoring, it was another earthquake, and the kids slept through it. They swear black and blue that they didn't, but they actually did. They slept through it. So what has this got to do with acceptance? I've been thinking a lot about this in the last few days, experiencing these regular earthquake occurrences. Now this is my second trip to Japan, but only the first time I've experienced the earthquakes, and I've realised that for communities that live, not just in Japan of course, but around the world, there are many communities that live with that ever-present risk of earthquake. And of course in Australia we have risk of bushfire and so on, not so much in our urban centres, but certainly in our more rural communities there's that daily risk of bushfire. So I think, what does it mean, when we're living with and we choose to acknowledge this risk in our day-to-day lives? And in Japan, of course, you're still going on trains, you're still travelling in the subway, you're still living in a high-rise building, you're still walking, and riding your bike to work each day, or sending your children off to school each day, knowing that any time there could be an earthquake. And I think it says quite a bit about the importance of recognising risk. And this is true for anxiety, so this is why I'm raising it with you today. The importance of recognising risk, acknowledging that it's there, making sure you've got your safety plan in place, and then basically living your life anyway. So if for you, you're fearful of bushfire, or you're fearful of an anaphylactic reaction to something, or whatever it might be in your life that creates that sense of anxiety for you, that is something that you can prepare for. You've got your safety plan, you've got your safety plan, you've got your EpiPen in your bag or whatever it might be. And then you get on with your life and you live your life anyway. I think about parents whose children might have allergic reactions to certain things, and they don't necessarily stop their children from going to birthday parties because they understand, or they reach a point of understanding, that at some point you've got to draw the line in the sand and stop anxiety from being the boss of your life and limiting your life and saying, okay, I need to live my life anyway. So there's lots that I've learned while I've been here in Japan that I've actually found really helped me in thinking through issues like living mindfully, which I'll talk about in a separate video because I think that's an excellent topic for discussion. Living with risk and accepting risk, so that full acceptance, that knowledge that the risk is there, but you choose to live your life anyway, and you'll deal with the issue if it happens. And that's the thing with anxiety, isn't it? We often are left wondering whether we should stop what we want to do because what if? And so as soon as you hear what if, when I think about people in Tokyo, what if there's an earthquake? What are they going to do? Are they going to never go anywhere? Are they going to never relax? Are they never going to sleep? I mean, they live their lives, and they live their lives fully. It's an amazing lesson. So for me, I'm standing here watching some of these kids on these rides going, braver man than me, Gunga Din, I ain't going there. But then I think, all of us here in Japan at the moment, where there are earthquakes every day and there are lower magnitude ones. Apparently, statistically, Tokyo's, about due for a large earthquake. But we're enjoying our holiday anyway. I'll show you a little bit of the view while we're here. Hang on a sec. Said rides. Look at this. Isn't it beautiful? So, wherever you are this afternoon, I hope you're having a fabulous day. I'm certainly having a fabulous day. It's my birthday, actually, so I'm making the most of today. We're here in Yokohama to do something a bit different. Well, as if Japan's not different enough, but step outside of Tokyo and do something a bit more fun, beyond what we've been doing in Tokyo, which has been wonderful. I'm very lucky to have such a a creative and flexible role in my work that I can travel from time to time, and my kids are now old enough to allow some travel, which is great for us as well. So whatever you're doing, I hope you've had a great day. It's Saturday today. I know it's sort of heading into evening time now. We're about 2 hours behind here in Japan. But I guess the take-home message today is whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is that causes anxiety in your life, if you can hold in mind that example of people who live in earthquake-prone areas such as in Tokyo, and they're able to live their lives, they're able to accept that risk in the full sense of the meaning of that word acceptance, recognise that it's there, acknowledge it, and move on and live with their lives and deal with the drama if it happens. I'm really hoping there's no more earthquakes before we go home. They are leaving us a little bit rattled, I have to say, but I'm learning from it. And so I wanted to share that with you guys as well. Have a fabulous night, whatever you're doing. And don't forget, our practice is closed until Monday the 8th, but that's this coming Monday. So the girls will be back on deck in the office ready to take your calls. 03 6223 2122 if they can be of any assistance to you at all. I'll be back in Australia at the end of next week. Take care for now. Bye bye.